Today we've got a full NBA slate and I'm breaking down each matchup with the pick I feel strongest about +1 player prop for every game. Quick, clear, and straight to the point. Cavaliers versus Rockets. For this matchup, I'm siding with the Houston Rockets. They come into this game playing some of the best basketball in the league right now, winning 9 of their last 10 and showing they can dominate on both ends. The offense has been explosive, leading the league in points per game and three-point efficiency, and the chemistry between Kevin Durant, Alperen Sengun, and the young core has been strong. Cleveland has talent and a solid record, but they've been dealing with key injuries and have leaned heavily on Donovan Mitchell to carry the scoring. With Houston rolling the way they are, momentum leans in their direction. For the player prop, I'm going Kevin Durant, over 26.5 points. He's hit that number 3 out of his last 5 games, including a 35-point night and another at 30. With the way Houston's offense is flowing and his role as a primary scorer, this is a strong spot for him to continue that pace. Pacers versus Hornets. For this matchup, I'm siding with the Charlotte Hornets plus 1.5. Indiana has struggled so far this season, sitting at just 1 win and averaging under 109 points per game. Charlotte comes into this matchup with more offensive consistency, scoring over 116 points per game and already picking up multiple wins as an underdog. With how these two teams have been trending, Charlotte comes in looking like the more reliable side. For the player prop, I'm going Pascal Siakam, under 4.5 assists. Looking at his recent stretch, he's finished under that line in 4 of his last 4 games, including just 1 assist, 3 assists, and 2 assists in his last 3 performances. His scoring has been strong, but the assist numbers haven't followed, so the under makes sense here. Raptors versus 76ers. For this matchup, I'm siding with the Philadelphia 76ers at home. They're putting up strong offensive numbers this season and just held off the Clippers in a tight 110-108 win. With the way they're scoring and defending, I'm rolling with Philly to get this one done on their home floor. For the player prop, I'm going Tyrese Maxey, over 31.5 points. He just dropped 39 against the Clippers and has scored 31, 33, and 31 in recent games, including 31 in the last meeting against Toronto. He's playing big minutes and taking a high volume of shots, so I like him to stay aggressive and go over this number. Heat versus Warriors. For this matchup, I'm siding with the Golden State Warriors plus 8.5. Miami comes in at 8-6 and is playing solid team basketball, with 7 players scoring in double figures in their last win over New York. But they're still missing key pieces. Tyler Herro and Terry Rozier are out, and Bam Adebayo is questionable. Golden State recently pulled together 3 straight road wins, and even in their loss to Orlando, Stephen Curry and Jimmy Butler combined for strong scoring output. With Golden State trending upward defensively and staying competitive on the road, the plus 8.5 spread gives them room to cover even in a close loss. For the player prop, I'm going Jimmy Butler, over 21.5 points. He's coming off a 33-point night and has hit 21 or more in 4 of his last 5 games. With the momentum he's carrying into this matchup and his offensive involvement, the over lines up with his recent trend. Minnesota Timberwolves versus Washington Wizards. For this matchup, I'm siding with the Minnesota Timberwolves. Washington comes into this one riding an 11-game losing streak and allowing the most points per game in the league at 129.6. Meanwhile, Minnesota is sitting at 9-5, is one of the stronger two-way teams. Based on how the matchup is framed, this is a strong spot for Minnesota to control the game. For the player prop, I'm going Keyshawn George, over 1.5 3-pointers made. In his recent performances, he's shown consistent involvement offensively, including a 29-point game in his last outing and steady shot volume. With Washington expected to be trailing, the opportunity and attempts should be there, making the over on his 1.5 made threes the call here. Denver Nuggets versus New Orleans Pelicans. For this matchup, I'm siding with the Denver Nuggets. Denver coming in at 10-3, while New Orleans is struggling at 2-12 and enters this one on a 4-game home losing streak. With Denver sitting near the top of the league offensively and New Orleans ranked last in scoring, this matchup favors the Nuggets. For the player prop, I'm going Jamal Murray, over 23.5 points. He was aggressive scoring the ball and continues to be a primary offensive option. With how Denver is projected to perform and the pace this matchup suggests, the over on his points makes sense based strictly on what we're given. Oklahoma City Thunder versus Sacramento Kings. For this matchup, I'm siding with the Oklahoma City Thunder. Thunder coming in at 14-1, riding a 6-game home winning streak, while the Kings sit at 3-11. The spread is large at -18.5. For the player prop, I'm going Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, over 31.5 points. Oklahoma City is one of the highest scoring teams in the league and enters this matchup with a strong offensive advantage against a Kings defense ranked near the bottom in points allowed. New York Knicks versus Dallas Mavericks. For this matchup, I'm siding with the New York Knicks. Dallas comes into this one struggling, sitting at 4-11 and winning just 20% of their games as an underdog. Meanwhile, New York enters at 8-5 and has covered spreads of -5.5 or higher in 5 of 6 matchups this season. With the Mavericks losing 4 straight at home and the projection calling for the Knicks to win this one 121-111, this matchup leans heavily toward New York maintaining control. For the player prop, I'm going Klay Thompson, over 10.5 points. Looking at his recent stretch, he's put up 19, 13, and 19 points in 3 of his last 4 games, showing steady offensive involvement and consistent shot attempts. With the way he's trending, the over on 10.5 points makes sense here. Chicago Bulls versus Portland Trailblazers. For this matchup, I'm siding with the Chicago Bulls. Chicago holds a slight edge in rebounding and overall creation, led by Josh Giddey and Nikola Vucevic. Portland can score, but defensively, they continue to give teams opportunities to stay close. With the projected final at 126-121 in favor of Chicago, the matchup leans toward the Bulls closing this out and covering. For the player prop, I'm going Denny Avdija, over 25.5 points. He enters this one averaging 26 points per game, and his recent stretch shows consistent volume, including scoring 29, 22, 32, and 27 in 4 of his last 5 outings. With this matchup expected to be fast-paced and high-scoring, the over on 25.5 feels in line with his current role and production.